Dawn is still a rumor on the horizon. On a dusty village road in Nagrig, a boy waits. He is 14 years old, thin as a blade of grass, and he is holding a pair of football boots. A minibus rattles to a stop. He climbs in, finds a seat, and as the engine groans to life, he makes a silent promise to himself. A promise of just two words: keep going. The journey to Cairo will take hours. He will do it again tomorrow, and the day after. This promise, made in the quiet of the morning, will one day be heard as a roar in the world's loudest stadiums. This is the story of Mohamed Salah, and it matters because it is not a fairy tale. It is not the story of a wonder kid touched by magic who arrived fully formed. It is a story built from the ground up, piece by piece, on thousands of hours of quiet repetition. It's about the transformation of a boy from a small Egyptian village into a king at Anfield. We will trace the journey, the setbacks, the refinement of his craft, and how that simple promise, keep going, became one of the most unstoppable forces in modern football. He was born in Nagreg, a small village where dreams were local. At 14, he joined Al Mokaloun's academy in Cairo, but it wasn't a golden ticket. He'd reportedly been turned away by Zamalek, one of Cairo's giants, told he was too slight, too raw, so he chose the harder path. That path was the road itself. The commute became his university. Up to 9 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. He would leave Nagreg before noon, piecing together multiple bus journeys to reach the capital. He did his homework on the rattling seats, learned to sleep sitting up on the long ride home in the dark. This was not just travel time. It was a curriculum in discipline. He learned to manage his energy, to recover on the move, to value every minute on the training pitch, because it had cost him so much to get there. The road forged a mind that did not break and legs that did not quit. He broke into the Al Mokaloun first team at 17, a flash of speed on the right wing. Between 2010 and 2012, he scored 11 goals in 38 league games, a sign of the finisher to come. But then, Egyptian football fell silent. On February 1st, 2012, the Port Said Stadium disaster claimed the lives of over 70 people. It was a moment of profound national trauma, and in its wake, the Egyptian Premier League was canceled indefinitely. For thousands of players, their careers were put on hold. A door had slammed shut. But in the strange geometry of fate, for Salah, a tiny window opened. European clubs could no longer scout league games. So the Swiss club FC Basel, who had been watching him, arranged a special friendly against the Egypt under-23 national team just to see him play. In that friendly, Salah came on after halftime. He scored twice. He played with a hunger that was impossible to ignore. He darted in from the right and finished with a certainty that had been rehearsed 1,000 times in his mind on those long bus rides. The Basel scouts had seen enough. By April, he had signed his first European contract. He adapted quickly in Switzerland, despite the new language, the new culture, and the cold. He helped Basel win the league title, scoring 20 goals across 2 seasons. The pattern we now know so well began to emerge on the Champions League stage. He tormented Chelsea in that competition, scoring home and away with his signature move: receive on the right, cut inside, curl with the left. So in January 2014, Chelsea bought him. It was the dream move, but the reality was a harsh lesson. At a club stacked with superstars, a young player from the Swiss league had to fight for every minute. He was fast, but the Premier League was faster. He was skilled, but the physicality was relentless. The blue shirt felt heavy, and the bench felt cold. But this was not a failure. It was an education. He saw up close what it took to survive at the absolute peak. The standards in training, the tactical demands, the sheer mental resilience required. He learned he needed to be stronger, smarter, and more clinical. It was a fork in the road: stay and stagnate, or leave to find the rhythm his game desperately needed. He chose rhythm. Italy was his revival. First, a loan to Fiorentina in 2015. In the Viola Purple, he was electric, scoring on his debut and finding the net against giants like Inter and Juventus. The joy was back. Then came the move to Roma, where he would be forged into the player we know today. Serie A is a masterclass in tactics and defense. There is no space given for free. Here, Salah's game evolved. He wasn't just a runner anymore. He learned to perfect his timing, to make his movements more efficient. He added 5 to 6 kilograms of lean muscle, allowing him to hold off defenders and maintain his explosive pace for 90 minutes. And he refined his finishing. The signature curler to the far post became his masterpiece, but he added a brutal driven shot to the near post. He now had two solutions to every problem. In 2 seasons at Roma, he scored 29 league goals. He arrived in Italy as a promising winger. He left as an elite forward, ready for a second chance. In the summer of 2017, Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool made him their club record signing, and it was the perfect marriage of player and system. Klopp's philosophy was built on gegenpressing, winning the ball back the instant you lose it, and lightning-fast transitions. This system didn't just want Salah's speed, it was designed to unleash it. While Roberto Firmino, the false nine, dropped deep and pulled defenders out of position, Salah would make devastating runs from the right wing into the vacated space. Many of his goals didn't come from long, winding dribbles. They came from a collective press, a turnover, and 1 or 2 perfect passes into his path. He was a winger by position, but a poacher by instinct, scoring the majority of his goals from the golden zone inside the penalty area. The fit was so perfect, the result was a hurricane. His first season was a storm of goals. In 2017-18, he scored 32 times in the Premier League, a new record for a 38-game season, 44 goals in all competitions. He wasn't just scoring, he was scoring with a devastating, repeatable craft. The right channel to the left foot curl, the sudden burst to the near post, the composure on a cutback. It was a pattern executed at breathtaking speed, and defenders who knew what was coming were still powerless to stop it. He had taken all the lessons, from the buses of Nagrig, the tactics of Italy, the physicality of Chelsea, and combined them into a perfect, unstoppable season. That season ended in heartbreak. In the Champions League final in Kiev, a shoulder injury forced him off the pitch in tears. He could only watch as his team lost. The pain of that night, the helplessness, sat with him for a year. But perseverance was written into his code. A year later, he was back on the same stage, the 2019 final in Madrid. In the second minute, Liverpool were awarded a penalty. The weight of the moment was immense. He stepped up, calm and focused, and sent the ball into the back of the net. The ghost of Kiev was banished. Liverpool became champions of Europe. Same stage, opposite ending. The next season, he helped them end a 30-year wait for a league title, a city's long sigh of relief. For his country, the pressure was even greater. On October 8, 2017, Egypt needed a win against Congo to qualify for their first World Cup since 1990. The match was tied deep into stoppage time. The clock showed 95 minutes when Egypt won a penalty. An entire nation held its breath. Salah placed the ball on the spot. The stadium was a sea of tension. He scored. The explosion of joy was seismic. He had carried the hopes of nearly 100 million people on his shoulders and delivered them to their dream. It was a moment that cemented his place as a national hero. His impact stretched far beyond the pitch. Named African Footballer of the Year in 2017 and 2018, he became a symbol of hope and pride not just for Egypt, but for the Arab world and for Muslims across the globe. He was an icon who performed at the highest level with grace and humility. His quiet philanthropy back home in Nagrig, funding hospitals, schools, and community projects, spoke of a man who never forgot the road that made him. On October 24, 2021, his hat trick at Old Trafford made him the highest-scoring African player in Premier League history, surpassing a legend in Didier Drogba. He wasn't just breaking records, he was changing perceptions. From those long bus rides to the deafening roar of Anfield, the same simple promise carried him. Keep going. It was not a trick of fate or a gift of magic. It was the craft of angles, timing, and courage, rehearsed 1,000 times in quiet moments and delivered to the world with a smile. We still talk about him because he made perseverance beautiful. He turned a long, hard road into goals you can draw from memory. He proved that the small whisper a boy makes to himself in the dark can become the loudest sound in the game. If this story reminded you why you love football, subscribe to Ink Pitch for more of the game's greatest legends, hand-drawn. Your support helps us tell more stories like this one. We'll see you next time.